Thank you for taking the time to watch this presentation. My name is Clay Alexon, and I'm one of the engineers with the City of Moorhead. This is an informational video for an upcoming street construction project proposed to take place during the summer of 2025. In this video, we'll cover several topics including the city's pavement management program, a description of the proposed work for this project, a funding summary, and ways for you to provide comments. We'll also let you know how to stay up to date as the project progresses. Before I get into the specifics of this project, I do want to mention one additional source of information that you might find helpful. The city has a dedicated website that provides information on the city's pavement management program. If you've never heard of a pavement management program, that's okay. This will be a great place for you to check out. In addition to providing background on what a pavement management program is, you'll get information on how the city selects projects, work strategies for major projects, a deeper explanation of funding and assessments, and a lot more. If you go to the city's website and navigate to the engineering page, you'll find the link to the pavement management program story map page. It's circled here in red. If you click on that, you'll arrive at this page, and then you can scroll through the page at your own pace. Now I'm going to go through the history of the project and the existing conditions. So per city records, the roads in the project area were constructed in the late 80s and 90s. The streets in this area are bituminous or asphalt pavement. As for major work since the original construction, 10.5 Street has had a mill and overlay in 2016 as well as a seal coat in 2018, while 17th Avenue has had seal coats in 2005 and more recently 2016. There have likely been some other minor maintenance items performed on these streets in the past, but we don't have that on record. Throughout the project area, sidewalks can be found continuously running on at least one side of the street from intersection to intersection, so there isn't any need to fill in gaps or propose new sidewalk. There is a small portion of sidewalk that will be temporarily removed on 17th Street in order to accommodate utility installation. Outside of this area, nearly all the sidewalk within the project area is in good condition and will be left as is, except if we need to make any other local repairs. There are also sections of curb and gutter that will be replaced or repaired to improve drainage on the street, but not all the curb and gutter will be replaced. As for utilities, the sanitary sewer is generally in acceptable condition. The city periodically televises the sanitary sewer and makes repairs when defects are identified. At the present time, no repairs are necessary. The water main in this area is PVC and is considered in acceptable condition. Lastly, multiple improvements are proposed to be made to the existing storm sewer system. A new main will be installed on 10.5 Street. New catch basins and manholes are proposed where existing structures are in poor condition. And lastly, the storm main located at the corner of 10th Street and 17th will be replaced. These changes are projected to greatly improve drainage in the project area. Now I'm going to go over some project-specific information about what we're proposing to do in your neighborhood. The proposed street improvements for this area qualifies as a rehabilitation project. Here we have a list of common elements that identify a typical street rehab, as well as a picture displaying both the scope of work and the type of work we're proposing. The majority of the rehab takes place along 10.5 Street into the intersection with 17th Avenue North. There will be small amounts of pavement at the corner of 10th and 17th that will be replaced, and that's just to accommodate the installation of the storm sewer. As for the dashed purple line, this shows approximately where the new storm sewer will be installed on 10.5 Street. Outside of a small water service relocation and a short sewer service line replacement, no other utility improvements are anticipated. On this slide, I've got some generic project information. The anticipated start date for this project would be sometime in May or June. This is a smaller project, but the timeline will ultimately be dependent on the contractor's schedule and weather. The final completion date for this project is anticipated to be near the end of September. That doesn't necessarily mean that the entire project area will be in a state of construction from May to the end of September, and it's not a guarantee that all the work is going to be completed by then. It just means that the contractor has that window of time to complete that project. And if they don't complete it by that date, the city may consider applying financial penalties. The project will also be completed in phases, and each phase has a specific amount of time allotted for construction. During construction, there will be times where residents will not have access to their driveways and will need to park vehicles on nearby side streets that are not under construction. When this becomes necessary, you'll be notified several days in advance. Access will change throughout the project depending on the scope of work in your area and what stage of the project is happening. If you have questions about access, please contact one of our staff. And then during construction, our field staff out there will be the best source of information you have on the topic. If you need any special considerations for access, please contact us as soon as possible so that we can do our best to provide accommodations. For example, this may include residents that use a wheelchair or residents who frequently make use of the FM Ride Source program. Please feel free to speak with us about your situation and we'll do our best to accommodate you. We will notify the police department that we will have construction in the area, so they should not be ticketing if you're parked on a side street. If you do get a ticket, contact me and then we'll work to get it resolved. Garbage and recycling pickup will still happen more or less like normal. If the trucks cannot get through to pick up your containers, we'll ask that you just bring your containers to the end of your driveway like normal, and then the contractor will round them up and bring them to a common location for collection, and then after collection, they will be returned to you. If this becomes necessary, we ask that you put your name and house number somewhere on that container. Assessments on this project are expected to generate approximately $60,000 and are calculated using the city rate for a mill and overlay. And that rate is applied to the front footage of the property. Generally on a square or rectangular property, that's measured as the width of the property abutting the street. Despite having a scope of work that would technically qualify as a rehabilitation project, assessments were determined using just the mill and overlay rate, and that rate is $42.50 per front foot. This was done because a mill and overlay would have ultimately been sufficient in terms of the scope of work on the street, but it would have actually been more costly in the long run when considering the next rehab in the life cycle. And then this, in addition to the storm sewer installation, and because we also had federal funding provided, led to the decision to perform the proposed rehab for the sake of cost efficiency and road longevity. We've estimated that the project will cost approximately $1.1 million. That includes all of the costs associated with construction, contingencies, and fees. The funding for this project comes from three sources: special assessments, the city's stormwater fund, and federal funding. Again, special assessments on this project will consist of front footage assessments and are expected to generate approximately $60,000. The assessments, along with the general obligation bond, will provide about $234,000. We will also have $600,000 in federal funding and then $250,000 from the city's stormwater fund. All of that combined will cover the total project cost. If you have general questions about the project, please feel free to reach out to the city engineering contact listed below by email or by phone. And if you have questions about construction access or schedule or scope of work, please feel free to contact us. We'd be happy to speak with you by phone or come out with you even to meet on site. Lastly, please let us know if you have a sump pump line or an irrigation line in the boulevard. Often the only way that we find out about these things is after we've dug them up. If you have one, please let us know. We can mark it and then do our best to try to avoid it. You may be required to relocate it if we can't, but we do try our best to avoid damaging them. If you are interested in receiving periodic email updates about the project prior to construction and then during construction, please go to the city's website and click on notifications. There is a spot where you can fill in some contact information and then select a project and then submit to be placed on the list. When we send out the updates, you'll receive those emails. Lastly, if you have questions specifically related to special assessments, please feel free to reach out to the city's special assessment coordinator, Amy Seifert. If you have questions about rates or amounts or how the whole process works, she's the one that you'll want to speak with. And if you made it this far in the presentation, just want to say thank you. Appreciate your time. Thank you very much. And again, please feel free to reach out with any questions.